Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com, and today we're going to talk about how to remove fake patient reviews from Google, or just nasty ones. It might not be from a fake patient, but if this is a Yelp question, I had someone reach out to me about Yelp yesterday. Ew, that's a whole different animal, because Yelp is it's not Google, right? So Google, most of you with Google, it's a pretty professional relationship as long as you have a premium Google account or a Google G Suite or whatever. They're going to respect their doctors and respect their business owners. So I feel like it's easier to get things down. Yelp, forget it. They're going to want you to, they're not going to do anything from my experience unless you, and I'm not saying this to disparage them, but we had this situation in our office. They absolutely would not even have any conversation with us about this negative review, even though we reported it and it was so BS, because we weren't a Yelp client, which is incredibly expensive. I mean, a Google G Suite, I think I spend like $76 a month, and that's a pretty premium one with a lot of storage and extra storage in Google Drive and all extra resources and stuff like that, and emails and stuff like that. But I think there's much cheaper ones. But yeah, it's definitely not the cost that you pay to work with Yelp. So, I mean, like I said, I personally have never been a Yelp client, but I have had issues with a Yelp review about 10, maybe 12 years ago. Oh, it was so bad. And I think I have some content in here somewhere in this YouTube channel. I kind of talked about it, but I never got that sucker down. I basically just had to bury it with a lot of positive reviews from other patients, and it literally did not even disappear. Like when you Googled my name, it did not disappear for a good 7 to 8 years. It was still there, to the point where I remember my mom saw it one time. It's not funny. She was so upset. It was so mean. She was like, "Did you really do this stuff?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not." They were just upset because the front desk didn't handle something, and it was very frustrating. Absolutely nothing I could have done wrong. But I mean, I didn't want to throw other people under the bus, so I got blamed for it since I was the doctor. Anyways, okay. So here's my tips on how to manage your Google business reviews. If you want to follow along on my journey, if you go to my Google profile. So you go to Google, put in Straightsmile Solutions, it'll bring up my Google business profile. From there, you can see the reviews. I think I have like 12. It was 5.0 stars. And then again, you know, I always say if something's 5.0, it's always fishy. 4.9 is the ultimate where you want to be, because 5.0 is fishy. It's like you made them all up, because that's almost impossible. So now I have a 4.7 because some idiot left me a 1-star review, because I don't think you can do 0-star, with no comments. And the only reason I know who it was is I went on this webinar, and it was a competitive webinar. And to be honest, I go, if you're posting all over LinkedIn that you have some type of aligner or braces webinar, and I don't have to pay for it, sometimes I pay for them, I think the topic's interesting, I want to go it. I'm not going to poach your stuff or anything like that, but if y'all aren't answering the questions right and the chat is open, I'm answering the questions, And also, if you have the chat open, you didn't say we couldn't do it, turn off the chat if you don't like it. Also, I'm gonna ask questions in the Q&A, and if you don't like my questions, don't kick me off the webinar. And the questions were not bad, they were just honest questions, like, what about this, So they honestly, this one course I went on, they didn't know what the heck they were saying. They weren't prepared, it wasn't done right, the speaker didn't know what they were doing. Nothing they were saying was supported by research-based evidence, and I was just like pointing things out, and they didn't like it because they realized that I was correct. So right after that webinar, not only did they kick me out of the webinar halfway through, and I did not get my C units, which I was pissed about. And they didn't even say, "Hey, sorry, you weren't a good fit for this webinar," or, give me a warning, hey, or turn off the chat if you don't like it. I've never kicked someone out of a webinar. If there's someone that's a competitive company and they're just kind of, asking questions, great, I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to show what I know. I'm not, unless they're being disparaging or nasty, I'm not gonna kick them out, and I certainly was not. Anyways, so you can kind of see what happened. You can see that 1-star review and how it tanked my Google review. So I went on this kind of major, just a rabbit hole on how to remove a negative review. So let's talk about that. So remember, it's never guaranteed. Just because you report it doesn't mean it's gonna get reviewed. It is a process. So this was like back in November, and we're already in January, and I started the flagging it, and it's still literally, as you can see, this is my thing. 1 out of 5 stars, decision pending, Google reviews. So it's still pending. So I can't even submit an appeal, but they do give a appeal option. So if and when if they don't remove it, then I can go on the appeal. So there are 3 suggestions, okay? So first, anytime you get a negative review, you always want to do a response. Ooh, I should actually show you what I said. Let me look it up. Straightsmile Solutions, Google. Sorry, I didn't have this ready to go. Okay, let's look at my 12 Google reviews. And where's my 0 stars? Did they bury it? Wait, where'd it go? It was just there yesterday. They might have moved it down. It was like at the top yesterday, and now it's like, oh, so they buried it. That's nice. Okay, so 2 months ago, yeah, and this is my response. Hi, leaving a 1-star anonymous review is a bit questionable. Please email us at my email. Would love to chat. I knew this wasn't a patient, so that's all I said. Was just, hey, let's chat about this. You know, it just shows that you acknowledge it, that you're concerned, you want to get to know them, you know. Every review you get, you guys should respond to. One of the things that's actually more powerful than the reviews themselves is your response to the reviews. So anytime I look through someone's reviews, especially if it's not 5 stars, because 5 stars, I'm assuming they're all bullshit, I'm gonna especially look at the bad reviews or the good reviews, and I want to see how they respond, because if they're getting compliments and they're not thanking for the compliments, that's a bit of a red flag. So I definitely respond to all the reviews and thank them so much, even if they're negative. Thank you for your feedback. If you want to chat about it, let's do that. You need to make sure in your response, if you do respond, you cannot, this is the key thing, you cannot give any PHI or HIPAA information. So you can't say, well, you know, you were sketched for this procedure and then you got this. No, you can't say that. You can't talk about any refunds they got or what they got or whatever, you know. And to be honest, if and when you're ever asking a patient if they'd be willing to remove a review and they're willing to, if they're getting any kind of refund, if you're working out some type of quid pro quo, make sure they sign a NDA, not a non-compete agreement, but a non-disparagement agreement. You can get a standard NDA form for these refunds from your liability insurance, or you can probably find one online. But you want to make sure that it works for your state that you're in. So I don't have a template because you want a special one for your state or your country, but you want to make sure if you are working something out with them and almost like a settlement, that they're not going to go back and blast you later again. So otherwise they have to pay you back your settlement. So it's got to be some type of agreement here. So personally, you know, respond professionally to the review without giving out any HIPAA, PHI, anything like that. You have to, these responses need to be very carefully crafted. I see a lot of people on the various dentist facing Facebook groups, and they sometimes run them by other people. This is a great one. I mean, I'd rather you not do it publicly, but find a few dentists that you know, and see if that's a good response. You want something that is gonna show that you're right, but without giving away anything to get yourself in trouble. Okay, number 2. Flag the review as inappropriate or fake. So as you start the process of appealing a review, they're going to give you a few options. You can flag them as inappropriate or fake, and there's a couple other options. So you're supposed to go to the review, click the 3 vertical dots next to the review, and flag it as inappropriate. Follow the prompts to your requests. Certain types of reviews qualify for removal are those that contain offensive language, fake reviews, or anything else that violates Google's contents guidelines. Remember, this process takes time and it's not guaranteed, okay? And really that's pretty much it. So just be honest, do your best. And like I said, Google buried that one for me. They pushed it all the way down. It was at the top like yesterday. So obviously something's happening. As long as they're burying it, pushing it down, and then eventually they may remove it, I'm good. Otherwise, what tends to happen is I think there's people like me out there that there was one of my kids' physicians, and goodness, let me look her up right now. I'm giving you guys stuff. I'm not gonna tell you her name, but let's see. Let's see what I said. So, oh, she finally got her reviews fixed. She must have gotten stuff taken down. Oh, that's so funny. Because as of last year, now she's 5.0, she was at like a 2 point something. And like, I was like, that is ridiculous. So I just left some positive reviews, and eventually it got pushed down, but I think she got rid of her bad reviews. So good for her. So yeah, there's hope. But yeah, Google, usually there's hope to get rid of your reviews without providing information. Now, when you work with Google independently, you might be able to provide information, but don't put their information into your response. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.